In a landmark ruling that echoes the ongoing tensions between the United States and China, a federal judge in Missouri has found the Chinese government liable for its actions during the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, imposing a staggering penalty of $24 billion. This judgment, delivered by Judge Stephen Limbaugh Jr. on March 7, 2025, stems from a lawsuit initiated by Missouri's Attorney General in April 2020, which accused China of withholding critical information about the virus and monopolizing essential medical supplies. The implications of this ruling are profound, not only for the diplomatic relations between the two nations but also for the global discourse surrounding accountability in public health crises. The lawsuit articulated that China engaged in deceptive practices, including misleading the world about the pandemic's severity and stockpiling personal protective equipment (PPE), actions that severely hampered the United States' response to the crisis. Judge Limbaugh stated that China was misleading the world about the dangers and scope of the COVID-19 pandemic and criticized its monopolistic actions, which impeded the availability of necessary medical resources. The Chinese government did not contest the allegations in court, and officials from its Washington embassy were silent following the ruling. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey emphasized the significance of the judgment, asserting China refused to show up to court. But that doesn't mean they get away with causing untold suffering and economic devastation. Bailey's comments reflect a broader belief among many U.S. officials that accountability is crucial in the wake of a pandemic that has resulted in millions of deaths globally and significant economic disruption. This ruling is part of a larger trend of increasing scrutiny and legal action against China concerning its handling of the pandemic. Previous statements from Chinese officials termed similar lawsuits as absurd, indicating a stark divide in narratives and responsibilities surrounding the pandemic. The decision also opens the door for Missouri to seize Chinese assets, including potentially significant holdings such as farmland, in an effort to recover the imposed penalty. This could set a precedent for similar lawsuits in other states, further straining U.S. China relations at a time when diplomatic engagement is already fraught with tension over trade practices, cybersecurity, and geopolitical influence. As the legal and political fallout from this ruling unfolds, it may lead to a re-evaluation of international norms regarding state accountability during global health emergencies. With the United States maintaining a series of tariffs on Chinese imports, including a recent 20% duty on all imports, the economic implications of this ruling could further complicate trade relations. Looking ahead, the global community will be watching closely to see how China responds to this unprecedented judgment and whether other states will follow Missouri's lead in seeking accountability from Beijing. As both nations navigate this complex landscape, the repercussions of this ruling may resonate far beyond the courtroom, influencing international policies and the dynamics of global health governance for years to come. In a significant move that underscores its ambition in the commercial space sector. China has recently spotlighted this industry during the annual government work report delivered by Premier Li Qiang. At the political sessions held in Beijing, Li emphasized the importance of fostering a robust commercial space industry, positioning it as a vital element in the country's trajectory towards high-tech development. "We will promote safe and sound development of commercial space, the low-altitude economy, and other emerging industries," Li stated, reflecting the government's commitment to harnessing new technologies for sustainable economic growth. This year marks the first time that the commercial space sector has been prominently featured in the government work report, a testament to its rising significance within China's broader economic strategy. Provinces and cities including Beijing and Shanghai have since launched action plans aimed at nurturing the commercial space ecosystem, indicating a concerted effort to align local initiatives with national goals. Joao Falcao Serra, a research fellow at the European Space Policy Institute, noted that provincial governments in China often implement specific policies mandated by the central government, thereby enhancing their political significance while driving local economic benefits. Among the achievements highlighted was the Chang'e 6 lunar mission, which successfully returned samples from the moon's far side, showcasing China's advancing capabilities in space exploration. Additionally, the development of applications from the Beidou Global Navigation Satellite System (GNSS) was identified as a burgeoning industry, further illustrating the government's focus on technological innovation and strategic resource management. A critical component of this commercial space strategy is the investment in reusable rocketry. This initiative aims to reduce launch costs and improve frequency, positioning Chinese companies to better compete with established players like SpaceX. Romy, a rocket designer with the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation (CASC), emphasized that reusability will usher in a new era of access to space, facilitating rapid advancements and innovations in launch capabilities. The coming years are set to witness the inaugural flights of various reusable rockets, including CASC's Long March 12A and Landspace UK-3, both of which are expected to conduct their first orbital launches in 2025. The expansion of private involvement in China's space sector, which began in late 2014, has led to the emergence of numerous companies specializing in small satellites and light-lift rocketry. With ongoing policy support, the landscape has evolved to include larger reusable rockets and a mega-constellation project aimed at attracting international customers, reflecting a vibrant and diverse ecosystem fueled by local initiatives. Looking ahead, the global space industry is poised for transformation, with China's strategic investments likely to impact international dynamics in space exploration and commercial activities. As the country continues to enhance its technological capabilities and foster innovation in the space sector, it is clear that the implications of these developments will reach far beyond its borders, influencing the global landscape of space exploration and commercial opportunities. The future of China's commercial space endeavors appears bright, and as it gears up for further advancements, the world watches closely to see how this rapidly evolving sector will unfold. As China grapples with a slowing economy and increasing social unrest, the nation's leaders are under immense pressure to implement effective measures to stabilize both the market and public sentiment. During the recent annual meeting of the National People's Congress, Premier Li Qiang outlined ambitious plans to achieve a GDP growth target of 5%. While also unveiling new stimulus initiatives designed to combat stagnation. This comes amid a backdrop of rising discontent among citizens who feel the weight of economic hardships. In his address to around 3,000 delegates, Premier Li highlighted the need to invigorate sluggish consumption. He warned that the foundation for a sustained economic recovery is not strong enough, a sentiment echoed by analysts who note the growing complexities of the international landscape. Just this week, the United States raised tariffs on Chinese goods to 20%, prompting retaliatory measures from Beijing, including tariffs on U.S. agricultural products. These escalating tensions further complicate China's economic recovery efforts. Public dissatisfaction has reached a boiling point, with many citizens feeling that their aspirations for upward mobility are being thwarted by an unfair system that perpetuates inequality. Recent data from the China Dissent Monitor indicates a significant increase in protests, with a 21% rise in collective actions during the last quarter of 2024 compared to the previous year. Economic grievances, including unpaid wages and housing disputes, have been the primary catalysts for these protests, accounting for 3/4 of the 7,000 incidents recorded since 2022. The ongoing economic malaise has not only bred discontent but has also manifested in a troubling trend of violence. Over the past year, cities across China have witnessed a spate of mass casualty attacks, often described as revenge against society. These incidents, fueled by personal grievances such as debt and job insecurity, have claimed over 60 lives and injured more than 160 individuals. Experts suggest that the tightening of social control under President Xi Jinping has left citizens with fewer outlets for resolving grievances, pushing some to resort to protests or violence. In response to this unrest, the government has ramped up police surveillance and issued stern warnings against violence. Following a tragic incident in Zhuhai where a man killed 35 people by driving into a crowd, she emphasized the need for severe punishment of the perpetrators, reflecting the administration's anxiety over maintaining social stability. Amid these challenges, top party leaders have reiterated the importance of ensuring social stability and improving citizens' livelihoods. The recent Economic Work Conference underscored the government's intent to boost consumer spending, with Premier Li announcing plans to issue 300 billion yuan, approximately $41 billion in special bonds aimed at stimulating demand. However, skepticism remains regarding the effectiveness of these measures, with experts cautioning that low consumer confidence may hinder significant improvements. Analysts argue that while the government's initiatives are necessary, they may not adequately address the deep-rooted issues of inequality plaguing the nation. Many believe that President Xi's focus on high-tech industries will continue to alienate the large segment of the population that is less educated and primarily rural, further exacerbating social instability. As China navigates these turbulent waters, the outlook remains uncertain. The intersection of economic policy and social sentiment will be pivotal in determining the country's future trajectory. Experts warn that without addressing the underlying issues of inequality and public dissatisfaction, the path to recovery may be fraught with challenges, leading leaders to contemplate the fine line between economic growth and social stability in the months ahead. In a significant breach of national security, 3 U.S. Army soldiers have been arrested for their involvement in a scheme to transmit classified military information to China. This alarming development highlights the persistent and evolving threat posed by foreign intelligence operations targeting U.S. military capabilities. On March 7, 2025, the Department of Justice (DOJ) announced the arrest of these individuals, which included one former soldier, Ruoyu Duan, and 2 current Army members, Li Qiang and Zhen Zhao. The arrests stem from allegations that the soldiers conspired to steal sensitive government property and engage in bribery. The DOJ's statement revealed that Duan collaborated with Tian to secretly gather military information about the Army's operational capabilities between November 2021 and December 2023. This information reportedly included technical manuals and insights into U.S. military weapon systems, which Tian transmitted to Duan in exchange for financial compensation. Brig General Rhett Cox, the commanding general of the Army Counterintelligence Command, emphasized the seriousness of these arrests, stating, "These arrests underscore the persistent and increasing foreign intelligence threat facing our army and nation. The implications of this betrayal are significant, particularly in an era where geopolitical tensions are escalating, especially concerning U.S. China relations." In a related charge, Zhen Zhao was accused of conspiring to send classified hard drives and sensitive military documents, including details about artillery, rocket systems, and U.S. military readiness in the event of a conflict with China, to individuals in China. The DOJ reported that Zhao received $15,000 for his actions, further underscoring the financial motivations behind these betrayals. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi expressed the gravity of the situation, noting the defendants arrested today are accused of betraying our country, actively working to weaken America's defense capabilities, and empowering our adversaries in China. This incident is indicative of broader trends in military espionage and the challenges faced by U.S. intelligence and defense agencies. As tensions rise between the U.S. and China, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region, the risk of espionage and security breaches is heightened. The U.S. military has been increasingly vigilant against such threats, especially as the Chinese government ramps up its efforts to acquire sensitive information and technology. The backdrop of these arrests is a rapidly shifting geopolitical landscape marked by increasing military activity and provocations in the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea. The Chinese government has conducted numerous military exercises in proximity to Taiwan, creating a climate of fear and uncertainty. These military maneuvers not only serve as a show of force but also as a reminder of the potential for conflict in the region. As this situation unfolds, it raises critical questions about the integrity of military operations and the safeguards in place to protect sensitive information. The need for robust counterintelligence measures becomes paramount to mitigate the risks posed by insider threats. Furthermore, as the U.S. grapples with these security challenges, it will likely lead to renewed discussions on national defense strategies and the necessity of fortifying military protocols against espionage. Looking ahead, the ramifications of this incident could lead to increased scrutiny of military personnel and a re-evaluation of security procedures within the armed forces. As the U.S. navigates these complex security dynamics, the importance of vigilance and preparedness in the face of foreign intelligence threats cannot be overstated. The situation serves as a stark reminder of the ongoing battle for information superiority in an increasingly interconnected world where national security interests are continually at stake. In a world increasingly characterized by geopolitical tensions and economic uncertainty, China is positioning itself as a stabilizing force on the global stage. During a recent press conference held on March 7, 2025, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi articulated the nation's diplomatic priorities and strategies as China navigates a complex international landscape. With the backdrop of the third session of the 14th National People's Congress, Wang addressed both domestic and foreign media, emphasizing China's commitment to fostering peace, stability, and cooperation in a world marked by disruption. Wang opened the conference with a reflection on the past year, highlighting significant diplomatic achievements under President Xi Jinping's leadership. He stated, in 2024 profound changes occurred in the international landscape, yet China made remarkable progress in its diplomacy, fostering a good external environment for high-quality development. He noted that China's proactive engagement in international affairs has increasingly drawn support and recognition from the global community as the country works to uphold fairness and justice and to safeguard world peace. Among the highlights of China's diplomatic engagement were three major events hosted by China in the previous year, which Wang described as benchmarks for cooperation among developing nations. The Beijing Summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation and the China-Arab States Cooperation Forum set a new benchmark for the Global South, he explained, underlining the importance of solidarity among emerging economies. Looking ahead, Wang outlined anticipated milestones for 2025, including commemorations for the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and upcoming summits under the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO). He asserted that head of state diplomacy would be instrumental in strengthening global partnerships. This year will write a new chapter of closer cooperation and shared success between China and the world, he added. A significant portion of the conference was dedicated to examining China's relationship with Russia, especially against the backdrop of evolving dynamics with the United States. Wang reaffirmed the steadfastness of the China-Russia partnership amid geopolitical shifts, stating, "No matter how the international landscape evolves, the historical logic of China-Russia friendship will not change." He emphasized that their cooperation is rooted in mutual benefit and strategic coordination, positioning it as a model for major country relations. Wang also addressed China's role in tackling global challenges, particularly in the context of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. He reiterated China's commitment to promoting dialogue and peace, stating, "China has been calling for political settlement through dialogue and negotiation since the onset of the crisis." He emphasized the need for cooperation among international stakeholders to pave the way for a fair resolution. In the realm of technology, Wang highlighted China's advancements, particularly in artificial intelligence, while addressing concerns about U.S. perceptions of competition in this domain. China's scientific and technological innovation has more than once defied people's imagination, he remarked, emphasizing the nation's resilience against external pressures aimed at stifling its progress. He framed innovation as a shared global endeavor, advocating for open collaboration rather than isolationist practices. China's foreign policy approach, as articulated by Wang, is centered on safeguarding the interests of developing nations, particularly those within the Global South. He underscored the importance of unity among these nations in facing global challenges and advancing collective interests. The Global South should stand together in unity and strive for development, he urged, reflecting a commitment to fostering stronger ties and cooperation among emerging economies. Moreover, Wang addressed the implications of the U.S. political landscape under President Trump, who has emphasized an America First policy. Wang criticized such approaches, warning that they could disrupt international norms and exacerbate global inequalities. If every country prioritizes its own interests at the expense of others, international order will be jeopardized, he cautioned, promoting a vision of multilateralism rooted in equality and cooperation. As the conference concluded, it became clear that China is not merely reacting to global developments but actively seeking to shape the future of international relations. The policies and diplomatic initiatives outlined by Wang Yi indicate a determination to leverage China's growing influence to promote stability, economic development, and equitable governance on the global stage. Looking forward, the world will be watching closely as China navigates these complex dynamics, striving to fulfill its vision of a community with a shared future for mankind. With the upcoming events and initiatives set for 2025, it remains to be seen how effectively China will be able to translate its diplomatic ambitions into tangible outcomes, especially in an ever-evolving geopolitical landscape.